Welcome back, everyone. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at regular expressions and Python's RE library, which is for regular expressions. Now, if you're not familiar with regular expressions, it's used for pattern matching. If you have worked with Linux, Unix before, you're probably familiar with using regular expressions to search for patterns from large text files. They can seem daunting, but I'm going to hopefully break them down for you and make sense of them for you. This might be a little bit longer lesson than the rest, but stick with me and I think you will enjoy it. First thing we're going to do is to import the regular expression library. And then I have this multi-line string here, or text, which is started with three quotes. When you do three quotes, you can have multi-line strings. And ends right here with these three quotes right here. And I have a sentence which is equals don't flock pigeons to pigeons in Central Park. Let's do Shift Enter here. Now remember that Python has these special characters. For instance, I have the tab character right here that I can put in and it will tab this over. If I take that out, you can see that it is not tabbing it. If I want Python to ignore these characters, I can put an R to indicate that this is to be treated as a raw string. And it is a raw string. We're going to use the regular expression compile method to pre-compile the regular expressions and then use those patterns for finding the patterns that we want in the string that we have, or the various strings that we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call re.compile, and I'm going to pass the raw string ABC. In this case, it really doesn't matter if it's raw or not, but just we get used to the idea. So this is my pattern, and you can see that my pattern is just this thing right here. I can now go ahead and call the I have a variable called matches, and I call the find iter method of the pattern that I want to search for the text that I want, which is ABC, inside of this text to search. Now find iter is something that returns an iterator. I'm going to have videos describing what an iterator is. For the time being, just accept the fact that an iterator is something that you can loop over. So I return that, and then I can go over the matches, loop through the matches. If I do this, you see that one match was returned, match ABC, in positions 1 through 4 of the string over here. We can see clearly that it is ABC. Remember that the last index is not going to be returned by Python. So if I do this, I will get ABC. Let's take a look at compiling or searching for loony. If I do this, you see that I returned 3 loonies in these locations. Let's print some of those. If I take my text to search and look at these particular slices, I get 2 loonies back, which is great. Searching for a period can have consequences, shall we say, or results that you may find unexpected. So a period has a special meaning. Period means it matches anything except new line characters. So if I do this and then search in the look for this pattern, well, this matches everything. So as you can see, everything is returned. Every single character up there, with the exception of line breaks or new lines, is returned. If I want to search specifically for a period, I have to escape it with a backslash, because a period has special meaning. And now I'm going to match just periods, and it tells me exactly where they're located. Let's take a look at what this has, what consequences this can have. If I search for loony.com, you can see that I got loony.com, but also loony@com, because what this is doing, it says look for the word loony, match anything else in between, and then com. So it matched anything else, and in this case it got the @ sign. If I want loony.com with a period meaning period, I have to escape the period again. And by doing that, I just get loony.com. So here are my special characters that a regular expression can use. Let's go over all of them. A period means any character except new line. A backslash lowercase d, it's a digit. Backslash uppercase d is not a digit, so anything else. Backslash lowercase w is a word character. A through Z uppercase, 0 through 9, and an underscore. Notice that it does not include punctuation, which would be a backslash uppercase W, such as commas and round brackets and curly braces, things like that. Backslash lowercase s is a white space, spaces, tabs, new lines. And backslash uppercase s is not a white space. We have these anchors that don't match any characters but can be used before and after characters. Notice they don't match characters, so keep that in mind. So the backslash lowercase b is a word boundary, which is marked by white spaces. Backslash uppercase b is not a word boundary, and that may not make much sense, but I'll hopefully clarify it with an example very shortly. A caret symbol is the beginning of a string, but if it's used inside of these square brackets, it means negation. And a dollar sign indicates that something happens at the end of a string. Square brackets match characters in the brackets, but it's important to understand it's a single match. If I put a caret symbol in there, then it matches the characters that are not in the bracket. And the pipe character is for either or, and the parentheses are for grouping. We have these quantifiers for selecting more than a single character, and this is the distinction between asterisk and plus will become clear in an example. So asterisk means more than 0, plus means more than 1, basically. Well, that should be a little bit more careful. It means more than 0 or 0, or 0 or more, basically. And just rewrite this, 0 or more. All right. The plus does mean that I have to have more than one. So if you don't have a single one, basically. A question mark means 0 or 1, and a curly braces with a number are exact numbers. That means 3 things, and this is a range that you can use in square brackets, range of numbers, min, max, inclusive. Let's go ahead and take a look at, and I can do the shift enter, it doesn't do anything, but let's take a look at these special characters. As before, we know that period by itself matches everything, so that goes without saying. Let's take a look at a backslash D to match a digit. And you can see all the digits were matched. If I do 3 of those, then it's going to look for 3 digits in the pattern. And so all the 3 digits were matched. Anything that was 2 or 4, etc. doesn't match. Not a digit. Let's check that out. So if you look over here now, you see everything that is not a digit. And that includes special characters too. If I look for backslash W, this is going to match all alphanumeric characters, but it includes numbers and underscore as well. Sorry about that. So if I look over here, I should see some numbers too. So there they are. I don't know if I have any underscores in my string, so probably no underscores will show up here. Here's a backslash uppercase W, which is not a word character. And as you can see, these are not word characters. You don't see numbers, you don't see alphanumeric stuff. To check for white space, let's do a white space, and you see that I get the new line characters, spaces. If I had tabs, I would see the tabs in here as well. And not a white space, as you might expect, doesn't include those, but includes everything else. Now for this word boundary stuff. So I'm putting a backslash B, saying that I'm looking for hello world as a complete string by itself and being a word boundary. If I do this, I get hello world. If I do a backslash uppercase B and I do hello world, I get nothing back. Interestingly enough, if I change this to, let's say, hi, I get 3 results. If I change this to hi, I get 1 result back. But notice the result here, which is position 72, character 72 to 74, is not in here. Why is that? Let's take a look and see this word boundary stuff. So when I said hello world, it looked for this, and this is the right before the H. That's a word boundary, so it matched the word. If it's not a word boundary, it doesn't check that back there. It matches everything else, matches the H, the E, the L, etc., but those are not word boundaries. Over here, I have this hi, which has a word boundary right before it. I have this hi, which has a word boundary right before it, but this hi in the middle, this is the one that the backslash uppercase B picked up. There is no word boundary behind this, but the I matches the backslash uppercase B. This hi was picked up because there is a word boundary. There's this space basically before that. So hopefully it makes sense what a lowercase b and uppercase b do for you. It's quite handy. I'm going to change this back to hello world. Of course, the video is there, so if you're watching the whole thing, you can always download this and play with it. Let me do Shift Enter here when I post it to be consistent. The caret symbol, remember, matches, looks for something if it exists at the beginning of the line. So I know that I have this sentence. Notice I changed the sentence here. That said, eagles don't flock. So if I do this, I do get eagles, and it does show me that it is in the beginning of the word here. However, the word park doesn't show up because I have up there pigeons in Central Park. Park is not in the beginning. In fact, it's at the end. If I put a taller sign at the end of it, it means it match park, and this is what the string ends with. So notice the dollar sign goes after the caret goes at the beginning. And this does match. So it is, in fact, there. To match phone numbers, let's try some different approaches. I can put 3 digits, period, 3 digits, period, 4 digits. Remember, the period here matches any string between these guys. So by doing this, I get all the special ones. I have commas, hyphens, periods. A bit more precision, I can put them in square brackets. And if I put a period in a square bracket, then it really does mean period in this case. So I'm saying match either a hyphen or a period. Remember that what's in the square bracket is a single match. So by doing this, I get all the hyphens and all the periods, but no commas, if you notice. I do have this external file, which is called contacts.csv. It's hiding back here, which has a bunch of names and addresses, telephone numbers, emails, etc. So I just want you to see that, so you know where it's coming from. It will be made available to you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the pattern for the external file, the same pattern. Now I'm going to use a context manager with open as F. Now, if you don't know what a context manager is, it's okay. I have a video that I'll be making on context managers. It'll be very detailed. Hopefully it will make sense. It's a great way to handle files. So I'm going to call this F is the handle for opening this file for reading purposes. I'm going to read everything. That's f.read. Everything will be dumped into this variable contents. And then my matches will be find iter contents. So I'm going to match, what I'm after, that pattern that I'm looking for, which is the phone numbers. So I can do this with an external file. As you can see, all the telephones from the file were returned. Expanding this search a little bit more, I'm putting a plus over here, and if I do this, you notice that I get this extra one that has a double hyphen. As you recall, the plus means one or more. So when I put a plus after the square bracket, it says hyphen, period, one or more of these match. Because I have one particular telephone that has 2 hyphens in it, it matched that, and that's how I got that plus. There was nothing else at this end, so it was just single matches there. Suppose I want to match 800, 900 numbers. Well, I can put the 8 and the 9 in the square bracket. Remember, it's a single match. Then looking for 2 zeros, that's just plain old. 2 zeros to match. Then a hyphen or a period, single match. 3 digits, hyphen, period, single match, and then 4 digits. This should take care of it. And we can see that we have an 800 number and a 900 number. The range operator can be used inside of the square bracket. You may recall the comma that was inside curly braces. This is inside the square bracket. So I can say 1-5, and that's the same thing as saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So either one will work. It's up to you which one you want to use. So I'm looking for single matches. Remember, it's a single match in here. So if I do Shift Enter, I get single matches as expected. But it's only 1 through 5. You're not going to find 6, 7, 8, 9, anything in here. And of course, no zeros. I can do the same thing for letters. Lowercase f through lowercase n. That's what it's going to return. Oops. I am not sure what happened. All right, let's bring it back up. So you can see that I have lowercase f through lowercase n. You're not going to find, q or z or x or anything like that. I can also say something like f hyphen n and then uppercase f hyphen l. So this is the range operator. So uppercase f through l, lowercase f through n. And this is going to return exactly what we want. I can use the caret symbol, excuse me, for negation, as you recall, inside a square bracket. So by saying caret A through C, I'm saying I want to match everything, but not an A or a B or a C. So by doing this, I'm going to get everything that's alphanumeric right here, as you can see, or non-alphanumeric for that matter, but you're not going to find A, B, or C in any of this. Suppose I want to match cat, mat, pat, hat, but not bat. So I'll put a hyphen, or I'm sorry, a caret B inside of a square bracket and then followed by at. Now there is a bat up there. If I want to say take out mat also, I can put M in here. So I'm not matching B or M. Remember, it's a single match. If I don't want to match pat, I can put that in here, and that's out, and it's perfectly fine. The order really doesn't make any difference, just so you know. I'll just put it back into B so I get those back. So everything so far we've done looks at a single character match. Here's matching the phone numbers again, just for reference, by using, \D 3 times, 3 times, 4 times. I can use quantifiers. I can use the curly braces to say, I want 3 of these / these, 3 of these / these, and 4 of these / these. I get the same exact results, in this case, I don't see too much of a, benefit in writing it this way or that way, but if you obviously had 50 here, or 10 or 12 even, it would probably be easier to write it like this. A lot easier to change also if you need to later, if your code requires that. Let's go down and match some titles. I have a bunch of Misters and Misses and Doctors, etc. up there. So here I'm going to do a raw match on Mr., and you can see I have 4 Misters that were returned. Suppose I want Misters with a period. Remember, period has a special meaning, so I have to escape it. I have 2 Misters with periods. Suppose I want both, so I can say \dot ? Remember, the question mark meant it's 0 or 1 of the previous character, in this case the period. By doing that, I see that 2 of these are Misters with periods and 2 are Misters with no periods. Now, this one is an interesting one. I'm going to do the Mr. with or without periods, and I have a white space, and then I want the characters A through Z, single match, and then I want to have a \W plus, which means, more than 1. And if I do this, I get Mr. Daffy and Mr. Porky show up. But if you scroll up there, there is a Mr. T also. If I were to replace the plus with an asterisk right here, which means 0 or more, and then Mr. T shows up as well. So that shows you the distinction between plus versus, say, asterisk. Okay. We can use groups to get more results. To use groups, we use the parentheses, and we can use pipe for or. So that's this or that. So I want to say Mr. or Miss or Mrs. or, with a \dot. So, either with a question mark, so either the Ms., Mrs. Is included or is not included with the period. And then I want the characters, and then W asterisk. So this is going to show, and actually everyone does show up, so notice everyone shows up. I should just copied and pasted the code, so that's what's going on. So you can see that I have Daffy, Porky, Drumpf, T, and Daisy. So this is another way that may be perhaps clear if you like it. This way you can just say Mr., Miss, Mrs. with the pipes in between them, and then a \, dot, as opposed to doing it this way. It's entirely up to you, but here demonstrates having groups can go inside or outside. But this is going to return the same exact thing as before. Let me save this. I'm going to post this latest one for you guys. I want to use groups to also pick up doctors. What I can do is I can put parentheses around M or D, so that's the pipe, and then the rest of it, of course, as we had before. And this should return, Dr. Z and Dr. Bugs are also being returned, which is great. All right. Let's go ahead and check for fetching some emails. So here's a raw A through Z plus. And remember, this includes numbers and hyphens too. I'm sorry, I'm showing A through Z, so never mind, I'll take that back. I was thinking of a word character. So this is just A through Z, lowercase, uppercase, at A through Z, lowercase, uppercase. And notice it's a plus, so it's can be more than one character. And then I want .com. So I got bbunny@looney.com and ddoc@looney.com. Let's do this one to be .com.edu or .net. So we have the pipes and we use a grouping to group this stuff. And I got one more. So it's joey.awesome@isb.net. Over here, I'm going to also include 0 through 9 and the period character. And the rest of it is the same. And by doing that, I got joey123@gwu.edu. So that's the numbers are now being taken care of. The plus inside the character set acts like a regular character. The plus outside the brackets means one or more matches right here. So here is the plus going inside the character set, and of course the hyphen. So these, and of course underscore here. So these act like regular characters, period, as you recall, same thing. But when it's outside, it means one or more. So if I do this, I get moscowmitch@kremlin.gov.ru, for instance. So this shows up perfectly because of the way that we have this created. I didn't have any pluses in any of these, but if I had a plus, or I'm not sure if a plus is actually allowed as an email address, but if I did have it, it would match. Let's take a look at fetching domain names from URLs using groups. And this is supposed to be lowercase s. Recall that the question mark means 0 or 1. It makes something be basically optional. So I have, I don't think I have nimazahara.com up there, but let me just double check. Let me, well, so that'll be kind of a cheating by saying it doesn't show up. So let me change this to something else. And so I'm going to change this to Florida Dreaming.com, and it shouldn't show. Okay, so by doing the pattern that I did, recompile HTTPS question mark, so the S is, questionable. Either can be or cannot, it can be 1 or 0 of those. And then I have www /period. I want the dot. Again, this is in a group, so this whole group is optional. So I can have youtube.com, but notice that www.google.com shows up. So if it doesn't exist, it's okay. And then I have basically \w plus and then .\w plus, which matches these words, more than one character, more than one word character matches. But notice that Florida Dreaming, which is the actual domain name, did not show up. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to modify this a little bit more. So by adding an optional hyphen here, question mark, to make that also be show up in case the domain name does have a hyphen in it. So I have floridadreaming.com showing up, so that's great. It is now showing up. These groups are indexed, so we can look at them using their indexes. In other words, if I run this pattern that I just did, I have a for loop. So for match in matches, I can call group 1. Well, group 1 is the whole URL, so you see the whole URL shows up. Group 1 is the www or lack of. So in case of YouTube, it returns none. Group 2 is index 2 is the domain name. So YouTube, Florida Dreaming, Google, etc. And group 3 is the top level domain name. So it's .gov, .com, etc. So these groups do get indexed when you use groups, just so you know. Keep that in mind, it might come in handy. Let's take a look at this long URL as a string of URLs that I have right here. Let me create the URLs right here. And now Regex does have a sub method for back references. So if I were to use the same pattern matching that we did, so there's my pattern, and then do sub URLs is sub 23 \2 \3. This is a backslash with the group number. Now recall that in this case, group number is the domain, and number 2 and number 3 is the top level domain name. So if I print the sub URLs, you notice that I get, the domain name and the top level domain name. So you can do that. You can do these backslashes to reference the group numbers, which is really, really cool. Keep that in mind. So far we've been using find iter. We can also use find all. I just want you to see that. Find all returns a string list of matches. Find iter does return additional information as you've seen me type it. If I do this pattern matching here and say find all instead of find iter, notice it's returning Mr., Miss, Mrs., but it's not as detailed as find iter was. Find all still returns it. If you look at matches, you notice that what it's returning, what find all returns, is really a list. And we're looping over that list. That's what we're doing. Okay. Going over here, compiling for telephone numbers right here. This is going to return these telephone numbers beautifully, but maybe that's all I want. I want the list of these telephone numbers, just FYI. Okay. There is a search method available to find a pattern, but it finds the first one and stops. So if I create a pattern for pigeons, and there are 2 pigeons up there, it says eagles don't flock, pigeons do, pigeons in Central Park. If I do this, notice it found the first pigeon, but that's it, it stopped. All right. So the search method that it has finds the first one. We can also use flags. There are a bunch of flags that are available in Python. So I can call the regular expression, for instance, ignore case. You can also just put the letter I, and that works just as well. And then do my match pattern search sentence, and you can see that pigeons were returned with a capital P, even though my regular expression, my raw string, was set to lowercase p, because we're ignoring the case. Well, that's it for this video. I know it's a bit longer than the others, but I hope you kept on with it and you learned a lot about regular expressions. Please keep practicing. There's nothing you can do really to break this. You just might get an error message. Not a big deal. Thank you for being a great audience. If you're enjoying these, please share with loved ones and friends, and I'll see you in the next video.